Hi beautiful world, welcome to this video. This is Tina from tinaheals.com, and let me tell you, this video is called a Scorpio special. And guess why? It's because Scorpios hit my videos the most, and they seem to be the most appreciative, and it's like almost 6 times the amount of other signs viewed. So obviously, the Scorpio energy kind of is wanting more from me, and I thought of doing an in-depth video about Scorpio. Scorpio is a deep sign. It's the last of the water signs, and in traditional astrology it was ruled by Mars, but once Pluto was discovered, then Pluto got the rulership of Scorpio. Now Scorpio is unlike any sign, because although it is a water sign and it's absolutely very powerful with emotions, it is very secretive. Okay, this is the archetype of the detective. Now the Scorpio season comes about at the deepest and darkest part of fall. Okay, it's essentially a cosmic time to clean up, both literally and metaphorically, because after this there will be winter and the long winter months in the northern hemisphere. So since I'm doing tropical astrology, I'm speaking about the northern hemisphere. So now think about a harvest, right? Now when you tend to plants, you know this, that you have to, at this point in the fall, you have to weed out what's unnecessary in your grow patch or garden. It's because unnecessary weeds are going to strangle the proper growing plants. Okay, and while weeding these out, you also have to be careful that you don't take out the perennials. So Scorpio is this process of death and regeneration. Okay, that's why it's so deep. Okay, now perennials need to be protected for winter, so Scorpio season shows you what do you need to throw away and what do you need to protect. Okay, this is a sign of initiation, discipleship. Okay, Scorpio. Now two processes are associated with Scorpio. Okay, the reproductive process as well as the elimination process, and this is actually so important, because we stay alive by elimination, and we also stay alive by reproduction, because a part of our genetic print lives on. We create a fractal of ourselves. Okay, if you must. Now both these processes of elimination and procreation, both of these are ruled by Pluto. Pluto is atomic energy, volatile energy, powerful. It is everything that's hidden. It's what we cannot comprehend, the psyche. That's why Hades, the lord of the netherworld, the underworld, are unconscious, where conscious mind cannot make sense of that zone, of that energy. While we go into the Scorpio season, we experience daylight is getting shorter. Okay, and the nights are getting longer. Scorpio is a fixed sign. Okay, it's feminine, but there is a lot of duality to its energies. It's very masculine as well, being ruled by Pluto and Mars. Okay, now sadly, since the darkness or death, such dualistic words and understanding of such themes, humanity perceives them as negative. Death is perceived of as negative. Okay, death taxes. So a lot of things that fall under the jurisdiction of Scorpio is oftentimes considered negative. Okay, and that's silly, because everything, it's death is again a continuation of consciousness. That's again another video, but let's get straight to this negative association with dark and darkness and death. Okay, once humanity realizes that it's just a transference of consciousness from one state to the other, then I think a lot of avenues open up, a lot of vistas open up for us. Okay, so think about the holidays associated with the Scorpio season. We have Halloween, we have Samhain, and we have All Saints Day. Okay, all of these are the main festivals of Scorpio. Now, water by itself has memory, because water is alive. So if you've seen Masaru Emoto, and this Japanese scientist in his work with water, whereby he recites mantras or he gives good intention to water and he photographs them, you know, and all these fractals, they come out as these beautiful sacred geometry shapes. So with bad words and bad vibes, they look spoiled and ugly. So what does this mean? That means water has tremendous memory. So what you give to Scorpio, you get back. So a lot of times shadow work, Scorpio deals with shadow and shadow work. Okay, this is something you've got to understand if you really want to explore the energy of Scorpio. And we all have Scorpio somewhere in our charts. So whether it's your third house of communication, whether it's your fifth house of romance and children, or seventh house of partnerships, you have Scorpio somewhere in your chart. And it's essential for you to understand this energy of cycles, of repetitive cycles. Okay. Now, Scorpio is a night sign. So again, the association with the dark and depth and the unconscious, the abstraction. Now, very interestingly, a lot of astrologers believe that no planet is exalted in Scorpio. That means, when a planet is exalted in a particular sign, say Saturn in Libra is exalted, or Venus in Pisces is exalted. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that this planet feels elevated and can express herself or himself freely, with beauty, with harmony in these signs. But Scorpio, the sign of death, regeneration, rebirth, does not allow any of the planetary energies to be exalted in it. So, very interesting energy signature of Scorpio. Now, Venus is one planet that does not do particularly well in Scorpio. A lot of the times I have seen, not all the time, but a lot of the times the key feminine expression kind of gets convoluted through the spectrum of Scorpio. Either there's just too much, or there's just too much intensity, or there's just too much of deceit, or there's just too much of lies, or too much of jealousies or possessiveness. There's something that can stir with Venus. Venus is our attraction principle. It's what we are attracted to. In Scorpio, the waters are murky. It's the unconscious. So energies like Venus, they are out of depth in such a sign. Okay, they don't know how to deal with Scorpio's energy. Now, of course, you know that the moon is in fall in Scorpio, and this is a very interesting thing, because the moon is all about emotions, and water signs are all about connection and emotion. But Scorpio, with moon and Scorpio, it's too much. It's like floodgates about to be opened, and all these unruly, unkempt emotions keep tumbling out. So with moon in Scorpio, there is a problem, because moon is in her fall here. Alright, so there could be issues of violence, anger, temper, and stuff like that. Now, we know that each sign is basically divided into three parts. known as phases or decans. Okay, now each phase, like 0 to 10, then 11 to 20, like that. Okay, 20 to 30, like that. It's broken up into 3 phases. So the first phase of Scorpio is ruled by Mars, which is its traditional ruler. The second phase of Scorpio, is ruled by the Sun. Okay, so there's a Leonine vibe to this. Of course, your 10th house is Leo, but I'll get to that later. And the third decan of Scorpio is associated, or Venus has rulership on this. And I told you Venus can find it problematic in Scorpio because Venus is in detriment in Scorpio. Okay, but she still rules the third phase of Scorpio. Okay, so with the third phase, so if you're born from, say, the 21st degree onwards, the last degrees of Scorpio, you can have a lot of Venusian qualities that come tumbling out, feminine qualities, or more understanding, or maybe you could really get into the psyche of the feminine. There are, of course, other planets and other situations that you have to look at. Now, what I want you to do, what I want all you Scorpios to remember is, if you have a prominent Scorpio in your chart, okay, you must take care of your reproductive systems, as in take care of infections, take care of all the Neptune rules infections, but I'll still get to that. Take care of STDs, take care of your sexual and reproductive organs, basically. Take care of your womb health, because Scorpio energy, since it is at the base of the Muladhara and all the pelvis and everything, you know, and up the pelvis, this sexual energy is very present in Scorpio. So oftentimes maladjusted, this can find expression in sex addiction or aberrations in bed, or any kind of different behavior. So sometimes, as I said, this addiction can get out of hand. So that's when you need to be careful. Okay, this energy is not only sexual, it is actually the most creative energy out there in the universe. Okay, this root chakra, Muladhara chakra energy that can come up, the awakening of the Kundalini. Okay, now okay, what I want to mention here is, with the moon in fallen Scorpio, thoughts and emotions are very compartmentalized in this sign, and that's something I have seen. Okay, you feel something and you think of it, and sometimes you punish yourself for deep feeling. You know, you punish yourself. But I don't think that is the appropriate way to go, because opening up to what you feel, why you feel, and how you feel is what's going to help you in the next level of understanding. There are 3 archetypes to Scorpio, you know. The scorpion with the sting, the eagle, that is a spiritual adept that can watch things from a spiritual vantage point, and of course then there's the phoenix that resurrects from all the ashes and just rises up to a new dawn, to a beautiful awakening, to self-actualization. Okay, now the first half of the sign of Scorpio is known as Via Combusta. Okay, and what does this mean? This Via Combusta is the burning way. Okay, and if you have your moon or any personal planets there, then they might find difficulty in expressing their inherent energies. So this Via Combusta is a very powerful energy that's almost like burnt away. Okay, so having your moon there, you might need extra work on that. Okay, of course you have Antares, and you have Aldebaran opposite Scorpio and Taurus. So there's a lot of fixed star energy with Taurus and Scorpio. That's another video, but there's just a lot going on when it comes to your sign. Okay, now let the marriage of thoughts and emotions take place. It's not good to always compartmentalize them. Now, for Scorpio ascendants, I want to tell you one thing, that your fourth house is Aquarius, okay? As I said, that every single sign you have somewhere in your chart. So for a Scorpio ascendant, you have Aquarius as your fourth house. And this means that you've had a very unconventional upbringing, okay? There may have been complications in the family in connecting with your mother. Your mother may have been ahead of her time, or just really busy in her own innovations or in her own ideas. There could be this very unusual, quirky energy to your father or mother, or people you've grown up with. Okay, this is unconventional. Aquarius, fourth house is your house of home and family. Aquarius is the most unconventional sign. So there is you're not 1 + 1 is equal to 2 in your home life. There's a lot of complications. There's a lot of going back and forth with maybe harsh words, or again with Scorpios you have to be careful of anger and violence, okay? Now also Scorpios, you're going to have a complicated relationship with familial traditions. It's because you are a fixed sign, so tradition appeals to you, okay? And you're opposite Taurus. Taurus is all about tradition. So, but there's something about you that, of course, depending on your particular fourth house, you want to innovate in this, like your family should not be the typical family. You don't want tradition. This is the way it is meted out to you. You want to discover things. As I said, Scorpio is a sign of discovery, self-discovery. Okay, it's when the Scorpion realizes it has become the eagle. It doesn't need to sting anymore. It can fly, and it can fly free in the sky. Okay, now I will still say one thing, that although Aquarius is your fourth house, okay, and you're unconventional there, but there is a part of you that does crave for traditions and does crave for a solid father figure. Because don't forget, Aquarius is also ruled by Saturn. A lot of astrologers inside real astrology don't use Neptune, Uranus, Pluto. They stick with their older planets. So in that case, your fourth house is also ruled by Saturn. So you are also looking at tradition. Now Aquarius, as I said, is probably one of the most interesting signs out there. It's ruled by two such diverse powers, if you look at it. Okay, Mars, Pluto still have the same kind of inherent energy. But Uranus and Saturn, what do they have in common? Nothing, right? Now, of course, okay, now if Saturn is in dignity and has no hard aspects, right, in your chart, then this can definitely make your home life better and more structured. Otherwise, your home life may not be so structured. If you're having ill-placed Saturn, debilitated Saturn, making rough aspects like oppositions and squares and quincunxes, then you don't know what to do with your father, how to connect with him. Something may be hidden about your father's Scorpio ascendants. That's also there, especially Scorpio suns. With Scorpio moons, it's your mother. Okay, now in the partnership realm, Scorpios, I have to say this, but you're quite fixed, and that's a good thing, because people are like, we Scorpios want sex. In a way it's true, but they're not only looking for sex. They want that connection when two becomes one, two become one, and that energy fuses into oneness, into a unitary consciousness. That is the soul penetrative sex that Scorpio is looking for. And if they don't get it, they may move from partner to partner looking for it. But once they get it and once they settle down, they want to be there for you forever. because the 7th house is Taurus, and Taurus is of course the most feminine sign of the zodiac, and it's also a fixed sign. It's the night sign as well, Earth, ruled by Venus, okay, and by Vulcan in esoteric astrology. So well, there is a lot of power with Scorpio, so you must be careful how you use it and what you do with it. Do you burn it away, or do you really use it as the eagle, and then finally burn whatever's unnecessary and resurrect as a scorpion, you know? Career wise, guys, you want a dramatic career. You can even do well as an orator, an actor, a politician, because your 10th house is Leo. You can even work with children, and of course, having a Scorpio ascendant, you're going to be deep in psychology, probably a psychology major. Okay, 10th house is Leo, so you don't want to sit quiet. 10th house is your social recognition. You don't want to sit quiet with it. You want to go out there, you want to tell people. So you're quite an extrovert when it comes to your career. 10th house, you know. So that was a lot about Scorpio. This is a special gift to all my Scorpios out there that watch my videos and give me all these hits. Please subscribe. I get most of my a lot of my clients are Scorpios, and of course a lot of hits come from you guys. So please share this video, like, thumbs up, do all that. Visit my website www.tinahits.com.